Hey guys, here today showing you how to replace a receiver dryer for the air conditioning system. Basically it's right back there underneath the PCM. This is a 2005 Ford F150. I just replaced the AC compressor. If you want to know how to do that, check out my video. I'll leave a link in the description, and there'll probably be a box somewhere that you can click on. You have to remove the battery. You're going to have to maneuver the PCM. I'm not going to disconnect it, at least I'm going to try not to disconnect it if I don't have to. But it is just living right underneath the PCM. It's like a round cylinder. It's covered up by some insulation that's black. You can't really miss it. It's pretty big. And yeah, so let's just get right into it. Like I said, this is a 05. This should work from 2004 to 2008 Ford F150s, probably 250s, probably 350s. They're probably all in the same general area. Don't quote me on that though, because I don't know for sure. This is a 5.4 liter Triton. This may also work on until 2014, because I know the body styles are very similar, but nonetheless, let's just get right into it. We need to remove the battery. It's two 8mm screws to loosen those up. So just get yourself an 8mm and loosen it up. Loosen that guy up. Loosen this one up. So that guy is now loose. We can lift this plastic thing off of here. That will expose the battery. Now there's a tie down here that is also at 8mm. It's just right straight down right here. You can just loosen it up and remove it completely. Shouldn't be on there very tight. This is what it looks like, 8mm. And then after you get this off, you should be able to just lift this battery straight up out of here. And then now what we need to do is remove the battery tray that's sitting right, obviously that's holding the battery up. The plastic tray there. I believe they're 13mm. Let me double check. Yep, two. Looks like there's two up here on. Looks like there's two up here on top. One right here, 13. Another 13. Like I said, that's holding this plastic tray in. There's two up top and there's two on the bottom. Just pretty much get yourself a ratchet and a socket and take them off. Oh, there's a wiring harness that's attached to the bottom of it. You'll see it's just some plastic tabs that you can kind of just pull them out of there. Okay, got that guy off. I should be able to maneuver this out of here some kind of way, like that. Actually, I think I am going to disconnect the PCM connectors here. You'll just pull these back like so and pull them out. Just so that they're all out of the way. And as you can see, the dryer is right here. I'm now, since this PCM is disconnected, I'm just going to try and move all these wires out of the way. Like, you won't have to do everything that I'm doing. I'm just doing it just because I don't like struggling and I don't like having things in my way. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this guy over here, like so. And I'm going to pull it off of this like that and just have it hang over here. And that way we can remove these 4 10mm bolts and just remove this PCM out of the way. Okay, just set this up here. Be careful with that. Then I'm going to go ahead and remove the bracket that was holding it on. It looks like there are 1, 2, 3 10mm bolts. Now you can definitely see the top of the dryer guy right here. So yeah, now there's one connector. I don't know if this will zoom in on that down there. There's a connector that's down here. You can barely see the tip of my finger that's on there. I'll try and see if I can get you a better view at it. So we look down here, we have the whole dryer assembly. Now it probably will come with this hose right here already attached that runs back to the evaporator. But this connector right here, you just pick up this tab right here and slide the connector backwards, like so. Your new one will probably come with one already attached. And as you can see, this thing is held on by, looks like 2 screws. This one here, which is a 10, and that one back here, which is also a 10. But in order to get it off, you're gonna have to, you know, like remove this here. You're gonna have to pick this guy up out of here. And you can't really be too aggressive with these lines because they're just aluminum. So we're gonna have to pretty much maneuver it around this line. We'll try and leave that one attached to the evaporator core. And then we're gonna have to take this guy off, which looks like a 13. Let's see. Yep, it is a 13. So I will say that before you start taking these lines off, if your system is charged, when you take these lines off, you will lose all of your Freon. It will go spray out all over the place. So I guess I should have prefaced this video by saying that you need to have your system evacuated before you do this. Otherwise you'll have Freon going all over the place. So I'm not going to say I haven't done this before and not have it evacuated, because I have, but the proper way would be to take it to an AC shop and evacuate all of the Freon out of the system so that nothing is under pressure, and then you can go on ahead and remove these lines. So first line I'm going to take off right now is this guy right here, which is just the 13mm. Your new dryer may or may not come with a pressure sensor right here. So if it doesn't, make sure you transfer this over to the new one. Looks like you can just use an adjustable wrench right here on the back because it's like a hex, and just loosen it and put it on the new one. But I'll remind you of that when we get there. So right now I'm going to take off this line, and then we'll have to focus on taking off the other line in the back, which looks like it's some kind of special Ford tool, which I didn't know. So hopefully I am able to get that connector off back there, but we will see here shortly. So I'm going to go ahead and take off that 13mm line now. This guy. So, as you see, I already had this evacuated, but you see some of it still is there. So you can imagine if that was fully charged, it would have just flew out all over the place. So we'll go in and pull this guy off. Now your new kit will come with O-rings that you'll need to use to replace these O-rings here. But we'll go ahead and wipe all this stuff off clean. And this line can just kind of, you know, set to the side for now. Okay, so that back plastic deal, this guy right here, this guy that just sat on the line in the back, you'll see it just slips over the line. I don't really know if these little tabs have anything to do with it, but all I did was just push them back like this and slid it off of the line. I just took it straight off the line. I didn't use any tools at all, I just used my hands. And that's these lines back here on the back that you see. And then from here it looks like you need to get a quick disconnect. Let me see. Yeah, it looks like we'll need to have a quick disconnect tool to get that off, like a fuel line quick disconnect. Let me see if I have one. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, as you can see, I've wrestled this thing out of there. So the proper tool you'll need is a AC line quick disconnect tool or a fitting. There's also fuel disconnect tools that, see if I can find one, show you what it looks like. Because I have one over here. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, it's right here. This thing right here. You can see this one has multiple different sizes. When you spin it around, it gives you other sizes. Pretty much what you do is, say if it's this one up here, you slip this around the line, close it on the line, and there's a beveled edge right here that you, on this car, you'll need to wrap it around the hose and pull it towards you, and then that will engage a set of spring, like a spring lock inside, that will enable you to slip the line off. I used plastic ones like those right here. Those ones right there, you can see the plastic ones right there, those white things. That's what I use on a line that's back here. You can see way back there, it's slipped over the line right now. And then what you do is you, like I said, you would just stick this thing on the line, how it is, and then you pull it forward, and you'll be able to take this off. Now, I went on ahead and loosened and removed the two. They are not 10s, they're 11mm screws. There's one here, right there, and one straight down. I went on ahead and removed those. Now I'm gonna just kind of wrestle this thing up out of here, like so, and I'll show you how to use those quick disconnect things and what they look like. So, when you have it back there attached to the line back there, if you look inside here, maybe it'll zoom in, maybe not, it'll focus. There's a little spring inside. Can't really see it, but it's in there. And what this tool does is you just slip it over this like that. You can imagine it, the other line is coming in right now, so you just slip this over there. And what you do is you push this in and push it into this spring that's in there. When you push it into the spring, there's a little spring pressure in there. That releases the clamp so that you can just then pull this whole hose off of the other hose. I'm making it seem a lot simpler than it is. Sometimes these things are kind of a bear to deal with, but I got lucky. But these are the tools that you need. These are AC quick disconnect. They come in various different styles, but I find I like these the best because they're plastic, they're small, so they get to tight places really easily, and they don't really damage any lines because they're plastic. So I think I bought these from O'Reilly for like $10 or something like that. I don't know, you'd have to go look for it. But now that that's off, we'll go on ahead and compare this to our new one and transfer over anything that we need to transfer over. So let's do that. Okay, so if we look at both of our dryers together, they look exactly the same. This one came with a new pressure sensor already, so I am going to just leave that one installed. I am going to save this one on the old dryer because I know it works. So in case you need a backup, you can just use this one. Obviously we'll need to use this here nut on this guy over here, and we need to transfer this black plastic case here, which actually acts as the bracket, and transfer it over here. It's held on by these 4 metal clips. Just get yourself a flathead screwdriver. There's a clip here, you can just kind of go underneath it and pry it off, and then there's 2 other ones over here. Like I say, you can just go underneath it, kind of pry the clip off, and then this should separate the case halves. Should be like a front and back type of deal. Kind of like so. You may need to get a little creative in how you take them off, but the back just kind of slides off. The front is going to be a little difficult because you know, there's more things to go around, but should be able to get it off like so. Then what we'll do is we'll go on ahead and slip the front back on to this one, like so. Okay, got the front on, and then we'll just slide the back on. kind of like so, and then you'll just have to use the metal clips to clip them back together. Now these should just, if you can look a little closer here, these will just slide onto one side, like you can just hook it around one side and then snap it, or here, snap it on like that. So we'll just do all 4 of those. Put the quick disconnect on. Fortunately for this time around, when we remove this here little protective cap, there's already a spring in here. So the only thing you have to do to reinstall this, you don't have to use a tool anymore. You just push it back on, make sure it clicks and it engages completely. That should be the only thing you need to do. You shouldn't have to use a tool at all whatsoever. So we'll go on ahead and maneuver this back into place. Then we can tighten up the 2 11mm guys and reconnect the pressure sensor. And then you remember you have one line over that you got to put back on. Your kit should come with a new O-ring. I've already installed a new O-ring on that line, so make sure you install a new O-ring that comes with the kit. And aside from that, should be pretty much the reverse of removal. So go on ahead and get this back on. Okay, so go on ahead and feed this guy back down in there. Remember I said this line right here is the line that you'll need to put the new O-ring on, so just make sure you don't forget that. Push that line in the back. I pushed it on, you know, it's on there tight now. And then you'll grab this guy again, a little thing, and just slide it back over the line. All this does is just make sure that the line doesn't come disengaged by accident. Okay, that's back on. And like I said, you go on ahead and tighten up the 2 11mm nuts that came off. Should be pretty easy and straightforward to do that. Go on ahead and reconnect the pressure sensor connector. And you can go on ahead and reconnect this line with a 13mm ratchet. Okay, so I got that line reconnected. Got the main line going into the evaporator back there connected. I'm going ahead and tighten up these 2 11mm screws. Okay, got those guys both on. And pretty much it's just the installation, you know, the same things that you took off before. Go on ahead and put the bracket back on that holds the PCM into place. These are 3 10mm bolts. Like so. We can go on ahead and set the PCM back down into place. The connectors go on the top side. And obviously the 4 10mm screws that held it into place. Like so. Remember, this guy will come along top and push back into here and get connected over here. Like so. And reconnect these by pushing them in and then sliding this forward. That will fully engage the connector. Just like so. Double check everything else, make sure everything else is good to go. Everything else is together. So next thing we need to do is to put the next thing we need to do is put the plastic battery tray back into place. If you remember, it's held on by 4 13mm screws. Okay, got all those guys in place. Going ahead and set our battery down, and then remember the 8mm battery tie down. This guy right here, this little square guy. Do you remember which way your positive battery terminal is? Positive terminal should be in the front of the car, towards the front of the car. I'm going ahead and get the tie down now. Position that into place. And just kind of start it by hand at first, and you can follow it up with the socket and a ratchet. Or in my case, I'm just going to use this wrench that's right here. It needs to be very tight. Tight enough. Got the battery in there. And we slide the battery cover back on first before you connect the terminals. Okay, so got that guy slid on there. I'm going ahead and reattach this terminal to here. I'm actually going to loosen this up so I can get a better bite on the terminal. Okay, the negative on. Tighten the negative up. And that's pretty much all there is to it. There's nothing else to do other than to go and have the system recharged. I do not know the levels that you need to charge this to, so please don't use those cans at O'Reilly. Those things are such garbage. Just go and pay the money and have it charged at a shop. They'll usually put dye in there so you can see if it's leaking, if it is. And they'll actually have the proper equipment, the correct manifold gauges to check the pressures. Because if you do them with the cans, they just don't work, and they just clog up the system with junk. So then you're just doing this all over again. So yes, please just take it to a shop, have them charge it, and that should be all there is to it. If you like this, please hit the like button, share it with your friends. Again, I appreciate you guys always stopping by to check out the videos. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the way out, and I will catch you guys next time.